Alright, so good evening once again. Good evening. Good evening. So, yesterday we started off looking at interesting concepts, and so today we are going to continue as such. And it was very important that whatever we talked about yesterday is touched on before any additional knowledge is what given. So, hello, thank you for stepping in for that. So, yeah, so please kindly mute yourself, okay? Great. So the few discussions you had few minutes ago is it's okay, but there are a few things I would want to touch on before we continue. So the assignment was that why learn C++ if there is Python? Why do that? So some of you gave interesting contribution, and that is perfect. Let me add one or two things, and then we can continue from there. So Python is a programming language. C++ is also a programming language. Now, C++, yesterday we compared it to what? C. We said that C has a bit of difficult syntax to grasp as compared to C++. Now, when it comes to talking to what we call the computer hardware and resources, these two languages perform very well when it comes to that. C and C++, they perform very well when it comes to tapping into what we call the system resources, talking about the hardware, the CPU, the memory, and all those things. C++ is very good at that, likewise C. Now, Python is easy to learn, but someone also said something that it is slower compared to what C++ or C. Yes, that is true. The reason being that there are so many layers that have been abstracted from you, the programmer. And so when you say print in Python, it has to go multiple layers to extract whatever you have, pass it down before the computer can understand. But in the case of C and C++, because it is kind of closer to the CPU, closer to the computer's resource, it doesn't go through multiple steps, and that is why it is fast. That is why it is fast. Then again, C++ is a general purpose programming language. Python is also the same. You can use C++ to build web applications. You can use it to build games. You can use it to build what we call embedded systems. You can use it to build what we call drivers. So game drivers, sound card drivers, whatnot. You can use C++ for that. When it comes to Python, too, you can use Python for what? Web development, mobile applications, desktop applications, machine learning, and so on and so forth. So you can realize that both of these languages are very, very powerful. But when it comes to choosing languages, there are reasons why we choose certain languages at certain times. So in a case where you are looking for a very high performance program, you are concerned about speed, then you would have to go with C++. You would have to go with C++. If you are talking about going into artificial intelligence, data analysis, and all those things, Python is very good at that. You can use C++ for some of these things, but what happens is, because there is so much concentration in the Python world, people have been able to come up with libraries, resources, tools that will make your life easier when you are using Python for such cases, as compared to what C++. Most of the things you would have to do them all by yourself. And that is why you see a lot of people getting close, moving the tangent of what? Python. So in a nutshell, choosing a language has to do with so many things. One, the reason why, the particular application you are building, the requirements of the application, what is the purpose of the app. Okay, so if the app is going to need a lot of processing and then you are concerned about speed and all those things, then C++ is okay. If you are looking to delve into machine learning, artificial intelligence and all those things, data analysis and all that, Python would be very helpful because there are tools and libraries created to make your life easier in that particular domain. But when we start with C++, what happens is you are able to understand the core and basic fundamentals of computer programming. Because now, when it comes to memory management, how to prevent it, how to prevent what we call memory leaks, how to allocate memory, how to deallocate memory, and all those things, C++ will allow you to be able to do all those things. So when you learn C++, to the very advanced level, you are going to talk about things like pointers and all those things, allocating memory and then deallocating memory, learning about what we call memory leaks, and so on and so forth. So it helps you to really understand how computer is able to process some of these instructions we give it. And that is why it is essential that you start with C++, a language like C++, which will deepen your understanding when it comes to computer programming. And so when you eventually pick on languages like Python, which is very friendly, easy to learn because so many things have been abstracted from you, at least you appreciate whatever that is happening there. Have I communicated? Have I made sense? Okay, great. So that is that with that particular question. So let's quickly transition to look at today's thing. But then someone asked a question, let me quickly attend to that. Please, as a general purpose here mean they can function in any section at all? Yes, basically. And then someone is also saying that, but C++ can do all, including what Python does. Yes, like I said, yes. When it comes to mobile app development, you can use Python for that. C++ can also do the same. When it comes to machine learning, you can use C++ for that. Python can do the same. Game development, you can use Python. C++ can do that. But sometimes we look at worst case scenarios and say, okay, this language is very good at this, and so we are going for this. This project that we are trying to work on, this software that we are trying to build, this language will be very helpful, or it offers features that will make the program very performant and efficient, so we are going for this. So you don't just stand up and use a particular programming language for any project. You sort of think about what you are working on, the requirements, and then that would inform you as to what language you should use, or what technology or tools you should employ to actually achieve that particular solution. So that is that. If you are okay, Thomas and Kennedy, I hope I've answered your questions. Okay, alright. So let's continue. So today, I would want us to do something interesting here. Let me close this for now. We are going to talk about programming terminologies, and then quickly we can see what to do next. Josephine, someone yesterday, I actually did that. So someone is asking, what is the difference between C and C++? If you're on the page, I dropped a video. I dropped a link to a particular video. You can go and watch that video, or probably after the session, you can DM Hello or myself, or you can drop it the same question in the group, and I believe your colleagues should be able to help you. But then know that C and C++ are also programming languages, basically. They are also programming languages. Just like we have the different languages to speak. We have Ga, we have Twi, we have Fanti, we have how do you call it, French, English, and all those things like that. The same way when it comes to computer and then programming, there are the different languages. One of them is C, one of them is C++, and the rest also are available. Just have that basic understanding for now. Alright. Okay, so I'm going to make it snappy. So, programming terminologies. Now, in the first instance, we need to understand what programming is. So quickly, let me get some input from all of you and understand what you would have to say. Programming. When we say programming, what does it mean? Yesterday we understood what a computer is. We said computer is what? An electronic device that helps to make work easier and faster. We also shed light on that by saying that it allows you to do what we call input, processing, output, and sometimes storage, and all those things. We understood those things. We also saw the generation of computers, how computers actually evolved up until now, that we have so much sophisticated and complicated technologies. So we are continuing today to look at what we call programming. So we need to programming terminologies, but before then we need to understand what programming is. Then when we understand that, we can now touch on the various terminologies in there. So yes, Kennedy is saying that he understands programming to be a way of communicating with the computer. That's a way of ordering or commanding the computer. Okay, that is fine. If you are telling this to your younger brother in the house who is probably like 5 or 6, 7 years old, it is a perfect answer. But then at our level, we want to go deeper. We want to really understand what programming is. Okay? Peter is also saying that an attempt to get the computer to complete a specific task without making mistakes. Wonderful. More suggestion? Should we proceed? Okay, Joshua is saying that a series of instructions given to an electronic device to perform tasks without errors. That is also wonderful, Joshua Oku. Okay, so I think we would work with these few submissions. So first, we are saying that it's a way of communicating with a computer. Yes, that is true. And another is also saying that an attempt to get a computer to complete a task without making mistakes. So when you instruct the computer to say, hey, add 2 and then 2 for me to get 4, that is what? Sort of instruction that you've given to the computer. It is performing a task. And then we expect to get 4 as the output without any mistake or error. So that is also that. Now we are also receiving an input from Joshua saying that programming refers to the process of designing, writing, testing, and maintaining the source code of computer programs. It involves, hey, are you sure you didn't go to copy this? Joshua Sherman, are you sure you didn't go to copy this from Google or somewhere? Okay. Anyways, thanks for that one. It's a language that helps humans to communicate with machines. Okay, that is cool. The process of writing instructions that a computer can understand and execute. Great. We also have programming is a process of writing instructions that a computer can understand and execute to perform specific tasks. Okay, that is fine. It's the process of writing instructions for the computer to perform a particular task. So, I think all the submissions given here are valid, and that is a good sign that we understand what programming is. But the little or few input I would want to make is there are particular things you need to pay attention to when you are defining what programming is. So a program, we have what we call a program, and then we have programming. So you realize that one is a process, which is the programming, and then one is a product, which is the program. So programming is a process. It's a step-by-step action. It's a step-by-step action. You don't do A and then go and do C, leaving B. When it happens like that, your program is not going to function properly. So we say it is a step-by-step instructions given to the computer to perform what? A specific task. A step-by-step. Sometimes you can also say that it is what? A set of logical instructions given to the computer to perform a specific task. So that is what programming. So with that understanding, there are so many things you need to understand before you are able to write instructions for the computer. There are so many things you need to understand. But you can't just stand up one day and say you are getting all those knowledge into your head. You need to build up from the basics. And that is why it is very crucial we understand what programming is. So we say it's a step by step instructions given to the computer to perform a specific task. Alright. Now we would also want to talk about the terminologies when it comes to programming. We want to talk about terminologies. When we say terminologies, basically some of the words, or yes, basically some of the words that you are going to be hearing when you are writing instructions for the computer, or when you are using a programming language, or what not. Some of the keywords that you are going to be faced with. So first thing I want us to talk about what we call algorithm. Algorithm. Now what is it? What is it? We say that algorithm is a set of instructions that is given to a computer to solve a particular problem. So if it is that we want to add, let's say 2 and 4, that is our problem statement. But then what steps do we need to go through to be able to get the answer that we want? So the step-by-step instructions that we lay out, that we say, okay, when you have the 2, you now add, use the plus symbol, you bring it, then you add the next number to it, you bring your equal sign or what have you, and then get a result. That step-by-step process, we call it what? An algorithm. So you say you need what? The first number, you need what? The operator, which is the plus, and then you need what? The second operand, which is the 4. And then you need what? Another operator, which is the equal, and then the result, which is also another thing. So when you're able to spell out all these step-by-step instructions, you are saying that you've actually written what we call an algorithm. So a set of instruction used to solve a specific problem or task, basically. So that is what we mean by what? Algorithm. That is what we mean by what? Algorithm. Okay. The next thing I would want to talk about is pseudocode. Pseudocode. I think it was part of the assignment given yesterday, right? Let me go back in. Algorithm is a set of instruction that is used to solve specific problem. So that is what I said. Or it wasn't part of the assignment. I think someone asked and said the person should go and then find out himself. If my memory serves me right. Okay. So pseudocode. Let's continue. So pseudocode is also what? A way of writing a solution to a given problem. But we say that pseudocode is much more or less like an English-like statement. So it is a set of instructions to solve a given problem written in plain language. In plain language. Can I continue? Can I continue? Yeah, Benito. Please, a moment.
Please, can you go over for me? Hello. Hello.
Which side are you talking about, please?
The one you just explained about.
Let's see, put.
Yeah.
All right. Exercise a little patient. We will come and attend to that for you.
Okay, thank you.
Please, the definition again. The definition of what? I've said so many things. Which of them should I define again?
The pseudocode.
Okay. So please, there are things that you need to learn. Okay. We are all learning. When you're asking a question, for me not to come back and ask you the same question, like what are you trying to ask or something, you go straight to the point. Whatever you are asking, you go straight to it. Okay.
Oh, okay.
It's something that you have to learn. You don't ask the question, and then I'll come back and ask you what exactly are you looking for. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay. So pseudocode, like I said, is a set of instructions, okay, that tells how to solve a particular problem. We said algorithm is what? A step-by-step instructions that is used or given to what? A particular a step-by-step instruction or solution that is used to solve a particular problem. That is the general definition of what? Algorithm. So you could see that it is in line with what we call programming. Who is that? Could this mute your mic?
Yeah.
Let me mute. Are you the one who is talking?
Yes.
Okay, so mute yourself. When you want to chip in again, you can unmute yourself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, great. So, like I said, algorithm is a set of instructions that is given or that is what is termed as a solution to a particular problem. So I set the problem to be, let's say, 2. We have 2. We have 4. We want to what? Find the answer. So that is our problem. So the step that you go through to be able to get the result, we are saying that is an algorithm. But then what you have to understand is that there are so many ways of representing an algorithm. There are so many ways of what? Representing an algorithm. Basically, multiple ways to represent the solution to a given problem. So one way is what we call pseudocode. One way is what we call pseudocode. And I'm saying that pseudocode is basically what? A set of instructions to solve a given what? Problem. Written in plain language. So when I say something like, first of all, get let's say get what first number, right, and then get the operator, which is what? Plus here, and then get what? The second number, and then finally result. You see this thing? This thing here is what we call an algorithm. But because it is written in a plain language, this is easy to understand, right? Thumbs up if you are following. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. Great. And next, you've raised up your hand. I didn't say raise up your hand, I said thumbs up. If you have a question, that is where you raise up your hand. So if that is the case, let's hear from you. Okay. So I think you... Hello. Yes.
Sir, please, are you sharing your screen?
Whoa. Really? All along
I'm asking. Hello.
All along I've not done that thing. Pardon me.
Yeah, we are not.
You should have prompted me.
I just realized that.
Okay, if you can see my screen, let me know. All along, I thought I was sharing my screen. Can we continue? I believe you can see it now. Okay, great. You can now see that is great. Okay, so this is basically what I was doing. This is what I was doing. Okay. So I said I've touched on what programming is here, touched on what algorithm is also here, and then we are saying that if we are saying algorithm is a set of instructions that is used to solve a specific problem, then we are also saying that there are so many ways to represent the set of instructions that we can use to solve a problem. When it comes to computer programming, there are so many ways we can represent those instructions, and one way is to use what? Pseudocode. So we are saying pseudocode is also what? Set of instructions to solve a given problem, and that set of instructions is actually what? Written in plain language like so. So in a case where we are trying to find the result for 2 plus 2, what are the steps we need to go through? First of all, we need to get the first number. We need to have the first number, which is 2. We need to get the operator, which is what? The plus. And then the second number, which is here. And then finally, we are able to produce our result. So when you are able to do this, which is obviously in what a plain language, plain English language like so, we are saying that this type of instruction is called pseudocode. Make sense? Make sense? Okay. Okay. Great. Great. So let's continue. Alright. Now, so that is what the case of pseudocode. There is another one called flowchart. Now, flowchart is basically what? The use of symbols and shapes to represent the step represent, let's say, the solution to a given problem. So the use of symbols and shapes to represent the solution to a given problem. That is what flowchart. So this is also another way to represent what a step-by-step solution. That is what that can be used to solve a given problem. One is what pseudocode, another is what flowchart. So in the case of flowchart, we are saying that you use what we call what symbols and shapes. So those of you who did probably elective ICT in SHS or something, you might have what learned some of these things. So we have what we call the starts, we have the stop, we have the decision, we have the condition, and all these things that I'm mentioning are actually shapes. So when you are using flowchart, you use those shapes to represent the solution that you think can solve the given problem. So that is what the flowchart. So we can talk about what the starts, we have the stop, we have the decision shape, and say we have the connectors, or let's say lines, or we also have the inputs, we have the process. It's plenty of them. So etc. etc. So this is also another way to represent what a solution to a given problem. Alright. So that is what flowchart. That is flowchart. Are we good? Can we make headway? Can we continue? Okay, I can't see your screen again, please. Thomas Bramford is saying you can't see my screen. Is it in the case of everyone all? Bright, you also can't see my screen.
So there are glitches here.
There are glitches.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, so what else? I'm actually recording the session, so I don't know. I'm actually recording the session, so probably after that. But I think it has to do with a network issue. There are glitches. It's network, definitely. Alright. But I'm just hoping that you are following along my voice and all that. You shouldn't just also be seated. You can have a piece of paper or a notebook or something, even your computer, and also be making your own notes. That is a smart way to learn. Alright? Okay. Someone is, I think I've seen a question. I can see your screen. Okay, we are following fully. Okay, that is great. We love the recording. Alright, so that is what flowchart. So let me see if I can insert some few shapes here. We have what's a shape like this one that is used to what make a decision. So this is this is giving us music. We don't want it. We don't want it. So this is what a decision shape. We would also have what we call a start. Normally it is a circular shape like that, sometimes like so, which is used to indicate a starting and then an ending as well. So please learn about the shapes. I'm not going to touch on them. Learn about the shapes and how you can represent solutions to a given problem using flowcharts. Alright, let's continue. Let me touch on few other terminologies and then I will take you through to install the software that I gave you, and then we can write our first code today. So we have what we call I also made mention of syntax yesterday, right? Syntax. So we say the rules of grammar for a specific programming language. For example, in C++, no, let me use Python. So, for example, in Python, to display information to the user in the console, we use print. We use print function like so. So we have something like print parentheses. You bring your what this and we say hello. Let's say hello period. Then you close it like so. So this thing here is what a syntax. If you bring the print and then you don't bring this parentheses, okay, this brackets, the opening and then closing, the system or the program is going to give an error. If you also bring one bracket and then you don't bring the closing, the system is also going to give an error. So this is the correct syntax to be able to print hello in Python. And that we say this is what? The syntax of the language. This is the syntax of the language. This is the rules of grammar that you need to follow when you want to print something in Python. Okay, so that is what? Syntax. And then let me touch on one thing again, keyword. Now keywords, these are reserved words that cannot be used as a variable. For example, print. Let me use cout, for instance. For example, cout. Okay, you can't use this thing as a variable. Then the question will be, what then is a variable? So let me just define that already. So variable or variables, these are placeholders or containers for storing information in a computer program, basically. For example, you can have, say, int age, then you say 18, like so. So this here, or let me just do it like so. This is what? A variable. This is a variable. So this age here is a variable, and this is not a reserved word. This is not a keyword, so we can use it. But when we say int and then we say cout, like so, the system is not going to allow us because see out is a keyword. It's a reserved word that is inside the programming language. So when you use it as a variable, it is not going to allow you. Okay, so age like so. Alright, so these are a few keywords that I want to touch on. There are a couple of them, but trust me, we can't finish all of them. Okay, so let me just leave you to these few ones. I'll add another one here, which is what? IDE. We have what we call an IDE. So IDE simply means Integrated Development Environment. So it is a software application that provides tools for developing what? Computer programs or codes. So in us learning C++, we can use, let's say, a text editor like Microsoft Word, Notepad, and the rest. But then, when you are making errors, when you are debugging, you don't have tools that would help speed up those processes for you. And so we have a more advanced environment, that is what we call IDE, Integrated Development Environment. Those softwares allows you to be able to easily debug your code. When I say debug, let's say correct errors in your code. And then it also helps you to be able to what? Do what we call syntax highlighting. We will talk about that. You already know what the syntax is, but probably highlighting is what you don't know. And then it also gives you other features that will make your life easier. And that is the essence of what? An IDE. That is the essence of an IDE. Okay. So on this note, if all that is said is well understood, I'm going to take you through how we can install our IDE, because we need one to be able to write our codes. We will install the software and then write our first program. Then we can call it a day and then make room for tomorrow as well. If that sounds well, let me get a thumbs up so we can continue. Okay. There are only few people giving a thumbs up. There are only few people. It will only maybe send a signal to me that they are the only people following or something. Okay. Alright. Okay. So let's continue. So we are going to install an IDE, and I've already given out instructions as to how to get those files on your computer. If you have been able to install it already, that is fine. But then in this session, I'm just going to minimize this, and then also minimize this. I'll go to my drive here where I have my software. So I think not this. I think my apps here, and then I have a software called Dev C++. This one I gave it out. So what I'll do is I'll just right click on this here. Okay, and then I'll say you can run it as an administrator, like so. And then all you do is select yes if you are prompted to do that. Just select yes, and then it is loading right here. Let's wait a bit for it to finish unpacking. Okay, so it is now asking me to choose the language. Let's leave it to English because that is what we are familiar with. Then we can choose I agree, read the terms and conditions, just select next, and then go ahead and click on install. Wait patiently for this to finish extracting to the very location that it needs to be installed, and then we can launch it afterwards. So you can also take this opportunity to install yours if you're having a machine and then have been able to download the software onto your computer. You should take this opportunity to install it if you've not done that. If you are using the phone app too, that is fine. That is fine. Alright, so we've been able to install the software. It is now asking us to run it. So by default, it is checked. So you can leave it to that because we want to run it and test what we've done so far. I'm just going to click on finish. Make sure you leave it checked and then just click on finish. So this is going to start the IDE. The IDE. So henceforth, I'm going to be using the term IDE because I've explained what IDE means. I hope you are following. Are we following? Okay, Okay, so Kennedy says he's done installing, there is a white space displaying. Do you mean that after you launched it or open the application, you are seeing a white space? Okay. So someone is saying if I can share the software on the page. Oh, I thought you should do it on the page. It's a zip file, right? It's a zip file. If it is decidable to be shared through WhatsApp. Okay, it's loading.
So please I've shared it again.
Alright, hello. Yes, Kennedy, you have a question? Okay, you are good to go. Alright. So, let me see if we are done launching ours. Yes. So this is what you are supposed to see, basically. If you've been able to install it, this is what you are supposed to see. Now, just make sure you leave everything to default. So English is default, click on next. And then next again, don't do anything, just click on OK. Next, okay. And then you're going to see this interface or this environment. And probably this is what I think Kennedy was referring to as what the high space thing. Am I right? Okay, great. So this is the screen you are supposed to see. This is the interface that you are supposed to see. Now, it is very important that you familiarize yourself with this environment. This ID, it is very important you get yourself used to it and know where certain commands are, where to go when you need a particular thing done, and all that. But today, time is fast spent, we are not really going to do that. All I want you to do is to be able to create a new document or project, and then we can write our first program. Then tomorrow, hopefully, we will explore the interface a bit, and then we can continue exploring another concept. So whilst you've opened this interface, all you do is just click on New Document here. Okay. Let me see. I think I did a mistake. Let me go to File, New. Okay. So I'm not interested in a document for now. We would want to create a project. Okay. So use the File tab in the menu bar here. Use the File tab. Choose New, and then select Projects. Okay. So when you select Projects, this is what you are going to see. This is what you are going to see, the new project window. And then in that, make sure you select console application. This is console application. And then you make sure C++ project is checked. Don't go and check C. Make sure C++ is what? The selected one. And then your project name, you see how the project is named. It is project and then 2. So if you want to have a project number like so, this is how to go about it. You don't write project and then you say space and then 2. No. You make sure that the number is attached. But it is more appropriate that you give a more descriptive name to your project. So since we are going to create our first program, I'll just name this one First Program. Like so. I believe you can see what I'm doing. Let me confirm from you guys. I should share the screen. My screen is shared though. Nana Jake, if you are not seeing my screen, probably the network. Some people are giving a thumbs up that they are seeing what I'm doing. Right? Those who are giving a thumbs up, is that the case? You are seeing what I'm doing, right? Yeah, so Jake, please check your network. Okay? Alright, so having done this, I've made sure I've selected what? Console application. The C++ project is the checked one. And then I've renamed the project to First Program. Look at how I have spelled the project name. Don't do first and then space program. Don't do that. Name it just like I have done. There is a reason why we do that. Okay. Then you click on OK. If you have been able to do that, just click on OK. Now this is going to ask you to save the project in a particular location on your computer. So I am going to choose documents. Okay. Then I can create a folder inside this document folder here. I'm in a document directory here. And this folder, I'm going to name it what? CPP projects. CPP maybe underscore projects. Then I'll just make sure I open this folder like so, and then I can save my project in here. And this is what we've been able to do. I'm going to zoom in so that you see what is on the screen. I'm not going to explain the various parts of what you are seeing right now because we'll do that probably tomorrow. But then, what I want you to do is, come here inside the where we have this opening curly braces and then the closing curly braces. At the end of this opening curly braces, put your cursor over there and then just press enter on your keyboard. If you are using your phone, you know how to do the enter. Then in the space provided at the top here, you hit enter multiple times just to create this space. Just to create this space. Now, having done this, all I'm going to do is say C out. Okay. Then I would say less than. Then I would open double quotes and then make sure the quote is closed. Then I would say hello world. I am learning C++, like so. Then I'll go outside of this closing quotes. Then I'll say less than again. Then I'll say end L. Then I'll bring a semicolon like so. But we are not done yet. At the very top here, let's do something. We can say using namespace std like so. Using namespace std. Make sure you have this one here. I will explain all these things in a later meeting. So that is that. So having done this, all I'm going to do is I'll move to the menu bar here where we have the execute, okay? And then I'll say execute, then I'll say compile and run. Now, then again, it is going to ask us that where do we want to save the compiled program. So we would go into the folder that we created again. It says that the C, I think I named it what? C++, CPP project, yeah. Project. So in this folder here, I'll select that folder and just click on save. And then it is going to compile this small project or program we've written into that particular folder. And then we are expecting to see an output. So you can see at your left pane here, there is a process that is happening. See, there is a green progress bar telling you that your program is compiling. The program is compiling. And hopefully it should be done for us to receive an output. This is taking longer than usual anyway, but I don't know, because probably it's the first time. Great. Yes, and as you can see, when you pay attention to what we have on the screen right now, you realize that we are having hello world. I am learning C++, and this is a console. This is a terminal. And this is what we've been able to do so far. How many of you have been able to do this? Let me see your hands. if you've been able to do it, if you've been able to do it, give me a thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Hey, someone is saying that I should go over again. Oh, a lot of you are giving me a thumbs down. Means you are not able to do it. This is just the beginning, no? Okay. So I would touch on it again. But then please make sure you go and then follow the channel. I'll upload this recording over there. Yesterday when I dropped the link, some of you acted nonchalant about it, as though you are not even in a group. If going forward I see inactive participation, what I'm going to do is I will not tell you. I have my plans. I've done the typing, but I'm left with how to run it. Okay, that is fine. So I'll touch on it again. Yes, somebody small, you're laughing. Yes, I have my plans. A simple instruction, and some of you are just in a group as though you don't know why you joined the group in the first place. Alright, so let me go over it again. So let me close this here. Now when you create a project, this is what you'll be seeing, right? This is a basic thing you'll be seeing. So what I said is that we need to be able to tell the system to do a particular thing for us, and what we want to do basically is to have a greeting message telling the world that we are learning what C++. So how do we go about it? All you have to note now is that this snippet of code you are seeing is a blueprint that you need to follow. When you get rid of this, your program is not going to work. So you need to have this structure in place in order to write your own codes into it. You need to have this structure. So we can say this is the skeleton. So you now have to add flesh to this skeleton to achieve what you want. So at the very top here, where you have hashtag include less than IO stream blah blah blah, there is a reason for that. I'll explain that later. I said just beneath it, you should also have another thing called using namespace. Using space, namespace, space, std. The std means standard. Okay, then you terminate it like so, with a semicolon. Now, having done this, we are going to go inside this block of code here, okay, this snippet of code. Now where we have this curly braces, this is the opening and this is the closing. So at the end of this closing, I'm not saying before it, or I said in front of it, put your cursor over there and just hit enter on your keyboard. If you are using your phone, you know where the enter key is, and then it is going to create this space for you like that. Are you okay up to this point? Let me know. Okay. Can I begin from where I launched the app? I'm sorry, I can't go back again. Okay, I will upload the video. Just go and make sure you watch it. I can't go back. Alright, so let's continue. Now, having created this space here, all you have to do is just do exactly as I'm doing. So you type C out. Okay, not capital C O, please, not capital C, small c O U T. Like so. Then you do less than, like so. Then you open double quotes. Please, not single quotes, double quotes. The opening and then closing. So inside this double quote, we are going to just type the word hello world, like so. Then we say comma. Then we say I am learning, or let's say we are learning C++. Let's use we are learning C++, like so. Now having done this, we are not done. We need to tell the computer or the program that this is the end of this particular line of code. So we go outside the code and then you can just do a semicolon like so, and then you are done. But the initial example I did, I said you should bring another less than, and then use the word or the keyword end, L, then semicolon, like so. If you are able to do this, it means that you are through and then have been able to tell your program that this is the end of this particular line of code. Have you been able to get to this point? Have you been able to do it? Okay, the size. The size of what, please? The size of what? Hello, the size of what?
So he was saying that if you can drop the recorded section in the WhatsApp group, and I was like,
No. For the
Because
WhatsApp
of
group,
the
that is not
size.
possible. That is not possible.
yeah.
That is why I have a dedicated place where you can go and then watch. Period. Alright. Okay, so let's continue. I'll go back to the IE. And then if you have been able to do this, all you do is now move to the menu bar here. Move to the menu bar here. You are going to see one of the menu that says execute. When you click on it, you are going to see so many options, but you just look for what? The option that says compile and run, and then select that one. Select that one. And if it is able to compile successfully and then it's able to run, this is what you are going to see. You are going to see a message in the console saying what? Hello world, we are learning C++. And congratulations, if you've been able to do this, you have written your first C++ program. Let me see thumbs up if you've been able to do it. If you've been able to do it, thumbs up. Okay, great. I have a number of people who have been able to do it, and that is a good step. So yes, that will be it for this particular evening. I'm going to upload a recorded session. If you are not really able to get everything simply because of your network and whatever it is, go and then rewatch it. Okay, so that is that. Please, can't you use the full stop at the end? Please remember we said something. We said something about syntax, the grammar of the language you are learning. If you don't follow it, you are going to get an error. If I'm talking to you right now and I'm saying that you is come, is it making sense to you? Probably you are trying to understand what I'm saying, but according to the grammar rule, that is not how you are supposed to say it. And that is what we just saw. So you asking if you can use full stop at the end, please, I'm sorry, no. The convention is that you use a semicolon at the end just to tell the program that, or the language, that this is the end of that line of code you've written. We use a semicolon. In other languages, you don't use that. For instance, Python, you don't use that. But for C++, the syntax, the rule of this language is that you use semicolon. Make sense? Great. So that is it for this evening. If there are questions, I think I will take maybe just 2 or 3 questions and we'll call it a day. Okay, so please, if you are using less than at the beginning, can you use the for greater to close it? No please. Kingsley, no please. The greater does something different, okay? We will see it in the coming sessions. The greater does something different. The less than is used to what? Display. The greater is used to get what we call input. So please just follow. Alright, great. Any further questions? If there are no questions, wonderful presentation. God bless you. Amen. God bless you too. God bless you too. God bless you too. Well understood. That is fine. I'm glad you understand it. Glad you understand it. But I'm sure we can have the full stop at the end of the statement before the semicolon. Yeah, so that is inside the string where we have the word, then dot. Okay, you can even use exclamation sign over there, but it shouldn't be used after the quote, which is the double quote. You shouldn't bring the dot after that. That is a good observation. More money and more blessings. Thank you. So please, what does see out mean? See out means console out. 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 So hello, if you can type that in the, I don't know if you can do that. If you can see out means console out. Okay, this is what does see out. Okay, after touching that, can we use VS Code as ID? I think yesterday I touched on similar question. I said if you use the route of VS Code, you are going to face your journey alone. You are going to face your journey alone. If you are already okay with that, find a way of setting it up to work with C++, because I am not going to do that. You will face that journey alone. If you get any issue, you are going to deal with it alone. But for us to be on the same page, just use the app I have given you. If you think you are very okay with the VS Code ID, then find your own way of setting it up and then work with it, okay? Can we use that is we call it the scope resolution operator, the is2, which is the colon at the end of the line or NL. So what you do is the colon is rather used to do the C out. So you do that. So when you say you do std colon C out, and then you now bring your double quotes, your less than double quotes and all that. But because I didn't want you to be doing std colon C out and all, that looks a bit weird. That is why at the top of the code I did that simple magic that says using namespace std. When you do this, then you wouldn't have to be doing something like so std, then you'll be doing this. No, you don't do this. This is going to confuse a lot of people. Since you guys are beginners, this is going to look a bit worrying. So you just do this thing at the top and then you avoid this. Period. Make sense? Okay. Please, with regards to the NL, can we use new line? So when you use new line, which is the backward slash n, it means that you have to do it just after the word world. Okay, or let's say when you're just typing hello world, I'm learning C++. So just after the word C++, you do backward slash n. That means new line. But if you don't want to do that, that is why we bring what? The end arrow at the end of what? Everything. We have specific cases where you would want to use the backward slash n. So we will see some of those instances. Please, I have this error message. Cout was not declared in the scope. Make sure at the top you are having the statement that says using namespace std. If you are not having that, please, it's not going to work. You face that issue that says Cout is not defined or declared. If you don't have that using namespace std at the top, you are going to face search challenge. Can we have the statement in the comments here, please? So where you have the hashtag include I less than IO stream greater than, just below it you paste this code. Just below it you use this code or this snippet of a statement. Okay. So I think the questions are enough. We will continue hopefully tomorrow. Thank you for joining. Please make time so that tomorrow we can continue. Go and practice. You can read ahead, you can learn ahead, and then when you come, when I'm even asking questions and I'm answering, it means you guys are doing a lot of the work already. I'll just explain some concepts that you need to understand. You don't wait for me to come and spoon feed you, and I think that will be a very good one. So that is it for this evening. Let's meet hopefully tomorrow. Thank you for coming. So hello, if you have anything to say, you touch on that. If you don't have anything, you call it a day.
Alright. So guys, please, do you want the assignment today? Do you guys want the assignment? You want the assignment? Say please, they said they want the assignment.
You want assignment? Okay, so I will come up with one and then drop it in the group, okay?
Alright.
The YouTube link is on the page, so it's on the
So
page.
please, is the recording being posted on YouTube or
The link I dropped, I told you guys yesterday that I have a YouTube page. I have a YouTube channel. So for this particular session that we are having, I've created a playlist for it. So that yesterday's recording is there, and then today's one I'm going to add it to that playlist. That is why I asked you to follow the channel so that when I upload it, you'll be able to see it. So maybe once again I'll just drop the link in the group so that you follow something. Or when I upload this one, I'll send the link and then you can use it to follow. Okay, so that is it for this evening. Have a good night. Bye bye.